John Jones. When you were a fan of Alex Jones, what was the most ridiculous conspiracy theory of his that you actually believed? If you can't decide because they're all equally ridiculous, then pick one at random. Okay, I just picked this question to answer because I thought it might be kind of fun to talk about how I used to be down the conspiracy rabbit hole too. So, and when I talk about that, I mean I was deep down that hole. To the point where I was, briefing and lecturing other people about how they needed to get in on my conspiracy theories, right? And listen to Alex Jones and David Icke and these guys because they really had an inside line on what was going on. So I think the most ridiculous stuff that I fell into believing, and in fact some of the last stuff I fell into believing that actually got me to the point where I started questioning some of those beliefs, was when Alex Jones was talking about FEMA camps. There's a DVD called Endgame about Obama and the evils of the White House and Obama himself, and how FEMA was going to set up these concentration camps all over the United States, which were supposed to be safe zone camps that FEMA was setting up or something. Turns out one of the videos that proposed to show these coffins that the FEMA camps were supposedly, storing to kill everybody who showed up at these concentration camps, or wipe out a whole bunch of people at least. The idea was that that there was going to be a depopulation effort made, right, to kill a whole bunch of people and wipe out a whole bunch of the planet and keep workforces concentrated in super cities, these mega cities scattered around the United States, connected by these superhighways. And the FEMA camps were going to be these concentration and extermination camps that were going to get rid of a whole bunch of people. And they were going to do it by injecting them with vaccines that were supposed to, the people would take the vaccines because they thought that they were going to be saving them, from disease. But in fact, the government had put out, or these big bad guys, right, and I say the government, the establishment, the conspiracy, whatever, was going to release this toxic plague, right, all across the U.S. And the vaccine was supposed to save you, but the vaccine was either going to make you sick and give you this super vaccine or super flu killer thing, or it wasn't going to protect you from it. And so all these people were supposed to die, right? Now this is all like over 10 years ago that all this went down, so I'm probably messing up some of the details, but definitely concentration camps, FEMA camps, right, was part of the picture. It was a government-sponsored, state-run extermination system that was supposed to happen. And part of this was also going to involve using troops from foreign countries on American soil to enforce this, right? Canadian troops and Mexican troops were going to come in to the country under the guise of war games or mutual exercises with the U.S., and then they were going to be the ones who were going to be killing U.S. citizens, not American soldiers, right? So this was somehow morally how this was all going to work. And the whole thing is absolutely ludicrous, but Alex Jones did say these things. I might be missing up on some of the minutia details of this, but the big picture that I'm telling you right now was absolutely put forward in his voice, with his money, making these DVDs, promoting this idea. And he took it to the extreme, and this is when I first woke up to it, right, was on air. He was telling people, Alex Jones, that to not be vaccinated. Right, that there was a flu going around. There was some kind of flu or something going around in the U.S. There was some kind of a disease going around. This was, I think, 2009 or 10, right, somewhere around there. And this flu was going around, or this disease was going around in the U.S. And Alex Jones was on air saying, "Don't get vaccinated for this." Right? Don't vaccinate your kids. Don't trust the government. Do not do it. And I went, what? Because I've been vaccinated my whole life, and my mom was a nurse, and I very strongly believe in the theory of vaccination and the practicality of it and the reasons for it. So, we can talk about specifics of individual vaccines that may or may not have been properly safety tested and all this kind of stuff. And there's a whole conversation to have about, the anti-vaxxers and all that. I am not an anti-vaxxer. But but the overall idea of having vaccinations, of, you know, making sure kids and adults get vaccinated, this is not something I mess around with. I very strongly support that. And so the idea that, you know, preaching to people to not get vaccinated for a disease that was, you know, going around in the U.S. was absolutely unacceptable to me. And that was one of the things that got me questioning what's up with this guy. And then, you know, looking into the 9/11 information, right? The 9/11 truth or stuff with Alex Jones was absolutely pushing. I started debunking all that, right, through all the debunk articles that have been done. And that was the beginning of the end for me on all global conspiracy theories, right? People get all over me about, well, what are you saying? Conspiracies don't exist at all, which is not what I said, right? Not what I meant at all. I have tried to take care to say global conspiracy theories, meaning the Illuminati, you know, Freemasons, just the bullshit that goes around the internet on this stuff is ridiculous. It's absolutely ludicrous, because if these guys truly believe that, you know, they've somehow secretly got a line into a global conspiracy that is consuming millions, billions of dollars, millions of people's lives, and and we're talking about the actual takeover of nations and the world, and they've somehow figured this out with some YouTube videos. Like, really? So in one light, the global conspirators are these brilliant madmen, and on the other hand, they're so stupid that people can, you know, find out about them on YouTube. Like, come on, guys, you can't have your cake and eat it too. This isn't how the real world works. Which is not to say that conspiracies don't happen every single day. There's all kinds of conspiracies. They go on all the time, and they almost always get busted when they're engaged in illegal activities, and the perpetrators get found out about, because human beings are horrible at keeping secrets. I mean, we're awful at it, right? We can't keep a secret about anything. So people have to talk, and once they start talking, man, it's game over. So anyway, that's, you know, just a little bit more about conspiracies, so have fun with that.